Greetings, good people. What's up? What's happening? My name is Dr. Clarence, and welcome back to TV7 Live, where we get to give you all the artists and top trending topics, broadcasting from Zimbabwe, Africa. Enough respect to everybody who's watching us live right about now. Now, what happened to Gambakwe in Zambia? Remember, in Zambia there was supposed to be a protest where we see a SADC organ there is conferencing there, and we saw Gambakwe there. Now from the afternoon he has been silent. So I've been trying to reach him. He wasn't picking his phone. Last seen around 1:30. So I haven't made enough efforts to reach out because I was preparing for this live broadcast. However, we're going to look at scenarios that have been presented so far and what is possible and what is not possible. And there is a level of certain ignorance that I have noticed among a whole lot of us, a certain level of ignorance or perception. So we're going to be clearing that out. And also, we're going to be talking about what the Zambian authority have no authority over, what they can do and what they cannot do. All right. So we're going to be talking about what they can do and what they cannot do, even if it looks like so. So one point I'm gonna make clear is this: Gambakwe was not there to demonstrate, right? He might have went with demonstrators or facilitated for demonstrators to go there, but he didn't go there to demonstrate. He went there to update on the situation that was happening there in Zambia. All right. So I was listening to him on one of his videos, and then he was talking about getting accreditation, right? I don't know why he got accreditation. He didn't need that accreditation. He didn't need the accreditation. A reporter needs an accreditation, right? But an author or a literary creator doesn't need accreditation. You don't need accreditation from anybody to write a novel. You don't need an accreditation at law, right? I'm talking at law, legal, right? Let me put natural rights aside. Let me talk about legal rights, right? In Zimbabwe, we confuse a journalist and a reporter. We have been doing that for a very long time. So we're going to check out some of the clips that were posted by Gambakwe and see how the police were handling this themselves there. Okay, and we're going to talk about it. At the same time, I'm going to be putting some text on the screen there. So we have the word journalist. A lot of people confuse the word journalist or a journalist from a reporter. The word journalist comes from the word journal or diary. Journal. Scientific researchers or just researchers publish what we call journals. And Einstein, Esma relativity theories, they were published in journals, right? Journals, it's literally creative work. It is intellectual property Then I saw a police officer trying to stop Gambakwe from streaming on YouTube. YouTube is not a public platform. Whatever public means, I will go there. It is a peer-to-peer platform. It is personal. You do not watch the video unless you are part of that peer. Right? It is a cycle. It is a circle. It is a peer-to-peer platform. Hence, it cannot be governed by the clumsy so-called media laws, which are really limitations which were penned and originated by ignorant and arrogant fools. The word fool means ignorant. Someone who doesn't know, someone who is empty is called a fool. It's not an insult, right? However, if one is insulted by being called a fool, that is good news. They should be insulted and do something about it and learn and stop being a fool. Okay. So a peer-to-peer platform cannot be limited. Yakafana direct phone call. No police officer should approach anybody on his phone who is speaking on a peer-to-peer platform. Arukufonana ne wanu wake 5,000. Ajinei nemi. Right? The police. So, what they may do, they may try kujanyirira. They may try to be tyrannical and create new laws around that. But for them to be able to create new laws around that, they will be needing people like journalists, right, who create work. A reporter collects and disseminates information. A reporter collects and shares information. A journalist does not necessarily collect, right? Their issue actually involves correcting. They use their own mind. They create. They use their own opinion. They write. They author. A journalist authors. A journalist creates. A reporter anovunza munhu in interview obva ataura kuti ningi yakati zvakati. That is what a reporter does. It is different from a journalist. A journalist is a literarist. I don't know how to pronounce the word, but is a literal artist, is a creator, right? And what a journalist creates is called intellectual property. Kuri anonzi intellectual rights, freedom of conscience. I should think whatever I want to think. Freedom of opinion. I should think whatever I want to think. And I should think however I want to think. I have a right to journal my thoughts, to write them, to put them in a diary. My thoughts, to put them in a novel, to put them in a book, to put them in spoken word, to put them in an audio book, to put them in a podcast, to store them however I want. Our governments cannot control or regulate internet, cannot regulate the association of people, the connectivity of people. What we call internet is not internet. The connection itself is the internetworking, not the hardware, not the computer, not the server. That is not internet. Internet is the process. Internet is the networking. That is the internet. Right? So I'm bringing those words there because I've seen a lot of people who are very jealous of the movement that Gambakwe is doing, right? I'm seeing some men who are not worth to be called men bending against this one man Gambakwe there. I'm going to show you an image that is going to inspire, if it's going to inspire. Then, this happened somewhere in Asia. We see one man standing in front of military tankers. We're seeing one man, right? Then, here we're seeing one man. Of course, there are two in the picture, but I'm showing you the one man there. That is Josiah Magama Tongogara. Now, as Gambakwe was speaking today, he said these guys are very scared of causing tension between themselves and their fellow rulers here in Zimbabwe. If I take you back to 1975, in Zambia, where we saw the demise of Herbert Chitepo and the subsequent arrest of Zanla cadres by the Zambia army. The Zambia army cited as its reason for arresting these. They didn't want any conflict within the region, or to be seen as if they are fueling conflict. These are the same citations we are hearing from Zambia, from the Zambia side today. All right, a police officer is a soldier, is a foot soldier. A police officer is not a policy officer. A police officer is not a judge. A police officer is not a policy officer. A police officer cannot think laws or decide on the substantiality of matter. A police officer is just a procedural officer who is there not as an initial or as a first step to any legal proceeding. No, they are there for certain convenience, for societal convenience. What we saw Gambakwe doing then at law, we don't call it demonstration. I don't want to be using the word demonstration. Okay, the word demonstration misrepresents. What Gambakwe was doing was commencing action. Commencing action at law. I'm using legal terms deliberately. Okay. I'm using these terms deliberately. Back to the issue. Ya reporter and journalist. Right? Tina news reporter. Right? Tina weather reporter. Tina sports reporter. Ma reporter guy. Tina correspondence responding to somebody else. Media correspondent. Right? Visual media reporters. Then we have journalists. Right? Of course, they told you of investigative journalists. Those that thoroughly research to expose a topic. Right? Watchdog journalists. Then there is a broadcast journalists. Then trade journalists. Then we have they are not called journalists, but they journal. They are journalists. Right? When you write, are you called a writer and author? Are you a songwriter? What are you? You are a literal creator. You create literal works. You are a content creator. You are a creator. You are an author. You are a writer. You are not limited. Right? That is a journalist. They can be anywhere, where they want to be, at any time, irregardless, it's not your so-called country. Right? We'll go to the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights. Right now, the UN DHR yakanyanya kuwanda anonzi natural rights. These are not legal rights. There is my rights. Ekuti, this is right, this is wrong. Right? Then there are my rights that are earned. Like when we perform rituals, rights, right? Kananchiti ritual. Something that you do in a pattern, in a format. A ritual. Right? He ritualistically sweeps the floor. It's a ritual. Something you do consistently. Ritual does not mean wabirwa ne habitual criminal inokuzondra ukubika. When it's a pyramid scheme, kuti iwewe ukandaidzira nganga dzakawanda dzikuda kuzobikwa. Pamari yavo nenge vachindipa ndenge nchikupa kati kuita kunge vanhu vari kutengesa maproducts direct marketing zvinoitwa maperfume. I see people selling andichaziva mazita achona aikwira South Africa uku maperfume, mafuta chichi, macosmetic in those deals, pyramid scheme ekuti ukabereka munhu wako you get the shares. That's what was the most ritualistic do. Right? There. We're going somewhere. I'm going to be slow in this one. This is going to be a very long video. Don't worry about saving data. I stream at a low bit rate such that the viewer doesn't waste data. When you finish watching a video of mine that is 1 hour long, 30 megabytes. Do test that. Big up to Karanga Private Care Residence. Mo Keynes says, any news about Gambakwe? I've tried to reach. I haven't reached to him yet. Right? Edward Takutkopo says, drama ra Gambakwe hero, eye to actor film. That is a gaslighting. Can you give me facts there? Drama. Why are you saying drama? You saying drama, you're actually being dramatic. Right? You're actually Jesus. I don't want to be using certain words. They sound offensive. Let me just stick to dramatic. Because I don't mean to offend you. You may be writing that unknowingly. Right? You are viewing it as drama. That is a noble cause. Mugai. One man. Standing. Right? He is not in the same category or caliber as Job Sikala or those other guys you see. He is in his own caliber. Right? So I'm not comparing. Let's not compare and expect certain things that have been done by others in the past that have not worked. We're seeing another movement. More Kane, say, Ndabazninche, Sbanda. Where are the Zambian live like Chaunangirazi? How can it be he is a journalist and now want to be one of the organizers of the protest? Okay. Opinion. Policy. Remember that Einstein, people like Einstein, my theory of relativity, right? Made this that no Macau class. They are published in journals by professors who research, who write, who author, who think from their spirit or from their mind or from their inspiration. from inspiration, from the Holy Spirit. I don't like to use the word Holy Spirit, right? Because as we are Holy Spirit. It is the Holy Spirit that gives us any idea. It comes from the Spirit from within. To further endorse that, when you think, do you think what you want to think about, or thoughts just come to you? But my thoughts anouya kwauri zvichienderana nekwawakarerikira. If you are somebody who seeks truth, who seeks diligence and integrity, your brain will come to automatically regurgitate those things. You train yourself with what? Training, until your habit becomes your character, part of you. In a movie, we call them characters. Was playing this character. A character becomes you. So thoughts work with your willpower, your beliefs, the things which you align yourself to. Abiga to Nomen Tembo, Kit Wande, it's Zambia, not Zimba. Oh, you always on high. Tafadhali Wachakwiku says, okay, peer to peer. Zadakwa ere. It depends the definition of Zadakwa, right? There may be hurdles which may not necessarily have been prepared for, right? The approach that I personally suggest Gambakwe was supposed to use was not the normal approach. The procedural thing. No? Because when you're following procedure, you're following procedure. You're doing steps that have been taken before. He was supposed to be radical and take his stance in whatever he was doing. Because whatever he was doing, he is not policed by any policy. He has no keepings. Right? There are no guidelines. There are no lines drawn. However, I hear him talking of accreditation. The moment you get accredited, you are bound by that accreditation. You are supposed to follow. When you work for an hotel, that media commission that would have accredited you. Right? At the same time, there's a technicality. It is you who determines in which capacity are you operating at any moment. Now, at any moment and at every moment, you are a real human being. You are a person. You might be at your job or not. So long as you are not a soldier, you are still a person. Now, our countries, for the case of Zimbabwe, is the Republic of Zimbabwe. It's not the Democratic Republic of Zimbabwe. This is a republic, not a country. It's a republic, not a nation. Okay, what is the difference between a republic and a democracy? In a democracy, the majority determine a whole lot of things, right? But in a republic, an individual, a minority, is protected by their natural rights. A republic prioritizes the person, the public, the person, the individual, angawe minority. That is a republic. In a democracy, the majority has limitless power over the minority. The population as a whole, they hold the power, right? But in a republic, an individual is an individual. Okay, is an individual. Lawmakers, policy makers, and whosoever makers, when they will be policing or whatever, they have natural constraints. to respect natural rights. To respect natural rights, we'll get to the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, which is natural rights, they're natural rights. Anyways, they cannot be given or taken away by anybody. The UN is just there to just administrate. Okay. So we have my natural rights. So I'm not surprised seeing Maprisa eku Zambia, Maprisa eku Zimbabwe, right? A lot of Zimbabweans sympathize with Zambia. I think I said Kokamira saying. A lot of us African folks generally behave the same way. Zimbabweans were just worse.
How bad this situation is. You've got a situation where a president has rigged an election. A regional body has issued a report that says he rigged the election. 17 out of 20 criteria not met. And
on the issue of rigging election, personally, I think if you rig an election and you win, you have won the election. It shows good guy. Politics is not a dirty game, it's a smart game. You use brains, you don't play dirty, you use smart. If you play it dirty,
I've received accreditation to go in there. And someone at the very high level of the Zambian government has made the decision, if we just allow this information that is going to come out of here to be...
Right, here he mentioned somebody in the high level of the Zambian government. Those people who come from the high level of any government, they come from our society, ordinary members, we vote them into parliament, into whatever. They're just like any other person. They are not demigods. Okay, so sometimes we may overlook that and actually think that just because a person is in a certain office, they have a certain level of open-mindedness or certain level of scope.
Broadcast. It's going to be amazingly difficult for the Zambian government. That's how afraid the Zambian government is of Mnangagwa. Mnangagwa's tentacles are spreading across the whole country. In fact, going...
Yes, obviously, Hichilema, as much as he tries to look brave on TV, he should be afraid of Mnangagwa. Never make the mistake of undermining or underestimating the intellectual prowess and the ability of strategizing of President Emerson Mnangagwa. A few years ago, we did a video on why Mnangagwa is the big brother in SADC. They all look up to him for ideas. Even when Ramaphosa entered office for the first time, he really depended on President ED being in office. All right, some of the things here I cannot say here, all right, because they are strategic things which may be used for evil. I could have given an example, right? But we're talking in terms of strategy. Is it possible for anybody to influence regime change in Zambia? How difficult is it, or how difficult it is? I'll give you a clue. We are seeing the Americans being based there in their office, which is not a base. In Zambia, right? They are working together with the military there. Just that alone, Kungo is secure. In Africa, we know a coup. You know, it kwane nema military. Kuna different types of coup. Uno gonna mastermind kwa. Kwa smart coup. Oto siya chigaro yewe wega. Like coup ya kamba opam chinguri na Grace Mugabe. Yachin siya ushia person ship women's league. Okay. Like that type of masterminding. Okay.
To other countries. That is how bad this situation is with Mnangagwa. So let's watch and see. But all I can say is that we are entering uncharted territory as Africans and as...
We're entering uncharted territory. That is the right phrase. The uncharted territory or uncharted territory. Never before charted heights.
Zimbabweans. It is going to come down in history. There was a man called Mnangagwa, and what he caused in Africa is terrible. Yeah. Let's look at the job. Job is saying, but it looks like we are alone. There are people here who wanted to protest. I don't know if they've been stopped somewhere, but you can see that security has been very cautious to me.
Right, he says there are people here who wanted to protest. Obviously, People are so used to this so-called protest, the traditional protest of lifting placards, etc., and then waiting for other think tanks and journalists to then interpret your message and then see what were you trying to say, what is being suggested here. What if you are suggesting something that is not in the book, something that has never been suggested before? What if it is a new idea that has been birthed or created from existing ideas?
They talk to me nicely. There was just one crazy person. I don't know if that is the guy from Zimbabwe who was trying to make himself look important. And the funny thing is, once we're in Zambia here, it's no longer like Zimbabwe where you can just find someone and shoot them. Like you find someone and then you start shooting.
All right, here he says, once you are in Zambia, you cannot find a person who can find somebody and just shoot them. We have a wrong perception of other nations in Zimbabwe because of our own situation. We have a wrong perception of that. That is not true. Anything can happen. We saw what happened in Kenya there. William Ruto, the flying president of Kenya, afterward seeing him where in the United States, by Joe Biden.
In there. And someone at the very high level of the Zambian government has made the decision, Kuti, if we just allow this information that is going to come out of here to be broadcast, it's going to be amazingly difficult for the Zambian government. That's how afraid the Zambian government is of Mnangagwa. Mnangagwa's tentacles are spreading across the whole country. In fact, going to other countries. That is how bad this situation is.
Okay, here he mentions that is how afraid they are of Mnangagwa. Everybody knows their capacity and capability and their limits. They may know their limits after trying something. Right? Personally, I don't know my limits.
Mnangagwa. So let's watch and see. But all I can say is that we are entering uncharted territory as Africans and as Zimbabweans. Soldiers.
So I want to show where the cop comes there. Yeah.
Like Zimbabwe, where you can just find someone and shoot them.
All right. So let us check the code of conduct that this police is arriving in. The mood and the operandi mode, not modus operandi.
Like you find someone and then you start shooting, and the police are coming now. So guys, just
so the guy is is on his book journaling. What is journaling? Not writing with a pen, but using his mouth. Right? He's orating orally, not technically, with one of his limbs. Right? I'm using those words deliberately. We overlook certain words. So sometimes when we overlook certain words, we may not get the clear meaning of what things mean. Things mean what they mean.
Make sure that I don't get arrested, okay? Hello, sir.
Right, here he says, make sure that I don't get arrested. Right, he's concerned, obviously, he is normal there in that regard. Okay? How is he handling himself and the association? Respectful. There is no call for disrespect. Earlier on I said a police officer is not a policy maker or a policy fighter or a policy think tank or a policy masterminder or a policy creator or a policy definer or a policy decider.
Yes, sir. Oh, you want me to? I was trying to stop. Can you stop it? Okay. Stop it now. Okay. Now.
Hey, stop it now. Stop it now. So you can feel the emotion in the voice of this guy. He is emotional. Right? Very emotional. Yeah, stop it now. Stop it. No, stop it now. Okay. So, one lawsuit there. Easy one. Okay, that's harassment. Straight up harassment. Right? That easy. Straight up harassment. What is a crime? A crime, whatever it is, it involves this word, harm. A crime, whatever it is, there is harm involved. Harm. I don't want to be getting deep into the etymology of crime. I don't want to be getting there, but there is harm. Then, what determines a crime? There are things that we call elements of crime. Elements of crime. I'm just going to put it on Google there. Elements of crime. They are the same. Basics. I'm not going to use the word fundamental. Right? So here of crime. Mens rea. Men from the word brain, mental. Right? Ment. What did you mean? Development. Argument. Right? Mens rea refers to the intent to commit the action, not the intent to break the law. For example, a person throws a rock through a store front window. I didn't intend to break the. Come on. Face value, face evidence. Mens rea. But if you manage to argue that one, I calculated the weight of the stone, whatever. Okay, then you use an expert witness, or you yourself become your own expert witness. Okay, so this window was already broken, etc. That can be proven. Here I'm becoming a notorious radical, not just a free radical. I want to show a certain point. When we approach these situations, we should not approach with that procedure or protocol observed. There is no protocol. I'm an individual. Right? Elements of crime, mens rea. Right? Then actus or actus reus. The acting part. Right? Which is Latin for guilty act. Refers to any unlawful act or unlawful omission. Omission can be a crime of act that takes place. Omission. 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 As much as we have rights, we have obligations for us to be called humane. Humane with an E in the end. There are certain obligations which we have because we live as a human, or as the human race, or as the human species. We are one species. So you have obligation towards your own species, right? Your red blood cells, even though they are organisms on their own, single-celled living organisms, right? They are separate individuals with different operations, different nucleus and nucleolus, different mitochondria, different ribonucleic acid, different cell division processes. But kana ma leukocytes, kana ma white blood cells akatanga kuita leak out of the body, your immune system inotata function. All right, I'm just throwing in those few medical words there, anyways, to not to sound sophisticated, okay, but to sound as if I'm giving evidence. It sounds like evidence. Anyways, I'm not manipulating anybody. And anybody who manipulates people can say I'm not manipulating. Another, causation. What causes? Causation. Elements of crime. Causation. There's one thing we call causation. Then concurrence. The knowingly injury, harm, etc. Those are elements of crime. Now, when you are in a nation, in another nation, let's say you are a tourist, you are touring, right? When you are a tourist, what do? You may make vlogs, right? You may write in your diary, right? You may put it in your photo journal and put it in your photo album as a tourist, right? So my tourist rights, my light rights, my light rights, my rights that know that my natural rights, or maybe fail about my natural rights, of which they never fail, to end up my constitutional rights. Okay, my acts they are just act. Okay, now when we go to this, I'm just gonna put it on the screen. Let me just look for the United Nations Declaration of Rights. A lot of people actually do not know these rights. That's why they find themselves being arrested by immigration officers, being deported, things like that. Why is Gambakwe in Zambia? All right, they want to put it political. Okay, it's political. Nice subject here. Political. Even things like asylum. It's political asylum. My God. It's something that is called political asylum. Let me just download the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights. Okay. It's called. I'm just throwing in those words, not to think deep. Just a simple reasoning, sensing. I'm failing to find the word. The word is not analysis, but reasoning is weighing, is justice. When you're reasoning, you are doing justice. You are looking at facts as they are, or a situation as it is, and judging it with the spirit of truth. That is reasoning. Reasoning happens when in the spirit we call the mind. The mind is not the brain. Awareness, consciousness. So journalism, intellectual property, it comes back to conscience, consciousness. Okay, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Let me just put it right there on the screen so that we may not get left behind on some of the things which may be happening behind the scene on my screen. I'm deliberately using those words to show that the word right and left can mean different things used in certain context, right? So a lot of legal terms have been misunderstood, not misinterpreted, especially here in Africa. I'm not talking in terms of the academic law. No, that is a light version of law. I'm speaking in terms of law, in terms of what is right, in terms of reasonable doubt, in terms of the natural man. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. Dignity. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood. That is Article 1 of the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights. Take note. Just Article 1. Already this is Article 1. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience. They are endowed. It is within them. It is within them. Reason and conscience. How do I put it in other words? they have the algorithm to calculate situations which they would have sensed with their senses, reason, and conscience, being aware, consciousness, being aware. You are aware with your senses. Senses are more than 5, right? Then you reason, you weigh, you're calculating, you're using an algorithm. That is reason. So it's mathematical. One thing you may do is give up your own freedom, or you may conform. Everyone is entitled to all the rights and freedoms set forth, declaration without distinction of any kind, such as race, color, sex, language, religion, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, or other status. Furthermore, no distinction shall be made on the basis of political jurisdiction or international status of the country or territory which a person belongs, whether it be independent, trust, non-self-governing, or under any which may be under something. If it's under something, hey, oh my God. Everyone has a right to life, liberty, take note, liberty, and security of a person, dignity, liberty. No one shall be held in slavery. The meaning of the word slave, or serve, should. Slavery, of course, we know hard drive, master, slave. We know that meaning of the word slave. But slave means any limitation. Right? The slave shall be prohibited in the slave trade shall be prohibited in all their forms. The slave trade is not in courts. No one shall be subjected to torture or inhumane or degrading treatment or punishment. Everyone has a right to recognition everywhere as a person before the law. Now, this police officer was treating this person like a Zimbabwean, as if a Zimbabwean is some sorry story. No. A lot of Zimbabweans have just conformed. A lot of Zimbabweans have just conformed. I don't know where some people get the no guts of undermining a person just because they are a Zimbabwean. Of course, there are Zimbabweans out there who are not makisa, especially those who are sellouts, who are involved in talking our own down among other people, right? No matter what we go through as a nation, we shouldn't go to certain extents dzakafanana nekuti tinoda kuti Elon Musk asaunze that satellite internet here in Zimbabwe. I've just forgotten the name because I've thought about it. Starlink, right? Not knowing my technicalities are involved in Starlink. Starlink is a straight up link, right? Even the way these mobile operators operate, it's technical stuff, but those guys basically they are using somebody else's intellectual property. I'm not talking of my patents. No, I'm talking of the systems, the hardware themselves. When you be using Java, when you be using C++, when you be using Python, when you be using a Linux, Android operating system, even Windows, they are in touch with their things. Those guys we have here are just agents, my agent. Econet. They're just agents who just buy some hardware and a few administration accounts they are given by whoever runs that entire system. Okay. They just get my GSM modem, etc. Those things, and they start just running it the same way you create a Wi-Fi hotspot at your place. to be like Gambakwe, but in their admiring of him, suburb, people should be able to do in a clustered community. The reason why a lot of Zimbabweans are scammed I would like to appoint some thoughts on this here. I don't want to be disappointing. content that is created by journalists accidentally chicha kayitot accidentally itike toita say with accidentally isai tiki okay who was it everyone is entitled to maybe people possibility on it, but they are. Everything is either possible or not possible. Everyone has right to freedom of movement and residence within the borders of each state, not the and return to his country. Right to leave his country or his country. I see overzealous police officers dystopia. That's cool, right? Everyone is right to seek and enjoy. As an author, as a creator, as a literal. to change his nationality. No one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his nationality, nor denied. So sometimes and resource office. This way, in such a situation, we do this and this. free. We are not some low lives. If you like wrong things, right things, you find them wrong. Anyways, with that, I'm going to sign out. This was food for thought, just to give assurance out there that no overzealous people can be doing anything. Of course, they can do because people, we may be ignorant, right? The Zambia, no authority there cannot harass anybody. Just the simple fact that they arrested somebody. Of course, people may be understanding, depending if they have any intelligence to understand. In terms of, when I'm saying any, to understand, you need context. What was happening here? You cannot just understand what you don't know anything about. Okay, like the real meaning of understanding. Not, do you understand what I'm saying? As in what manipulators use in their speak. Do you understand? When somebody says, "Do you understand?" It's very difficult for you to say no. It's psychological, not technique. I'm twisting technique, and it's you see. So you see now, okay, things like that. Anyways, I'm gonna sign out right about now. I'm just weighing in on this, not subject, but happening in real life. In this endeavor by Mr. Gambakwe to create literal works as an author, as a creative, to create content, to author content released in form of audios. Some have developed what we call spoken word audiobooks. It is all literal creation. It is all his intellectual property. A person's thought are his intellectual property. Opinions. Jesus. Anyways, with that, I'm going to sign out. Enough respect.